Travis's Auto. It is 7 o'clock Tuesday evening, time for Toy Tuesday, time to check out some more super cool memorabilia. We are live on YouTube. Since we are live, we'll give everybody a few seconds to get their notifications, and then we will get rolling here shortly and check out some super. So, let's see, are we hung up still? There we go. So it kind of hung up there for a second. Looks like we're good now, hopefully. If you're seeing any issues on your end, please let me know. Haven't seen any comments pop up as of yet, but we'll keep our fingers crossed that technology is going to cooperate with us and everybody's going to get their notifications and everybody can jump on with us and check some stuff out. So anyway, if you were on with us Sunday night on Sunday Night Live Chat, you know that we went down to Oklahoma last week for spring break, and we stopped at a super cool, awesome place, the Auburn Duesenberg Factory in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. I posted the first video from there last night, and it was just a chat session of the owner and president, Doug Prey, and I sitting in his office. We kind of filled in a little bit of the history of the company. We've got a couple more videos we shot like that where he's just filling in the story, talking about his dad, how he bought the company. We go through the restoration shop. We look at some of the awesome cars that are there. We look at some of their parts inventory. They've still got tons, literally tons of new old stock parts from the 20s and 30s from the Auburn and Cord companies that they still have in stock right now on the shelf. So we're going to look at a few pieces of that right now, as a matter of fact. Obviously, I'm here and you guys are here with me because we like memorabilia. And Dan from Defiance is on good, and he says we're coming through loud and clear. Great, Dan. Thanks for letting me know. But obviously, I buy a lot of stuff I probably don't need, but it's so cool. I love the history. We're all here because we love the history. We look back at the designs, the styles, things like that, and it's just so neat. So I always end up bringing a bunch of junk home I don't need, but it's so cool. But that's why we're here to check it out. So tonight we're going to check out a few of the small things that I brought home. And we've got the next couple of Toy Tuesdays are going to be centered around this stuff. Like I said, tonight's going to be some of the smaller stuff. I brought a couple of pretty epic pieces home that I can't wait to show you too. There's no way to cram it all in on one night. So we'll get started with some of the smaller stuff tonight. And not only did I buy some cool Auburn and Cord related memorabilia, I also picked up a few oil cans and some other stuff while we were there too. So got to 2 or 3 episodes just coming out of that deal from last week. So that being said, let's get rolling. Let's check out some of this stuff. That's right, Dakota. It's not junk if it's cool. I think this stuff is cool. You guys may not. Some people may not. Some people can't understand why I spend my money on it, but I love it. I love to hold it in my hands. I love to look at the design, the style. That you think back to the era of when these cars were designed and built and things like that, and it's just really neat stuff. So anyway, let's flip this around and let's start taking a look at some stuff. We'll start with a few of the rougher pieces. These are some old Auburn hubcaps. These are just the covers off of the caps. These are some 8-cylinder Auburns that they replaced over the years. So there again, this one's a little rougher. The 8 itself is banged up. This one has a pretty clear Auburn 8 on it. But like I said, these are just the caps. They literally peel these off of the actual hubcap assembly itself. I guess this would be the cover of the cap. And just, they still had some of those laying around, so I snagged a couple of those. Now, along with that, the reason these were taken off is they were replaced. Got Old School on with us again. Thanks for being here tonight, Old School. This next piece is actually a brand new Auburn 6-cylinder cover. They took this off of the actual cap and replaced this cover with some reproduction 8-cylinder covers for a car they were restoring. So this is, from what you can see here, it is brand new. It was never on a car, but it is not complete. They took the actual base part of the cap that snaps onto the wheel off and replaced it with an 8-cylinder one for an 8-cylinder car. So little crusty, haven't even cleaned this stuff up yet. But I mean, literally looks brand new from what you can see through the dirt. I just need to get these washed up. Maybe we'll take a little better look at them when we get time to do that. Another cool piece, they still actually had a bunch of these in stock, believe it or not. Brand new Auburn ID tag. And they had quite a few of these still. These are brand new from the 30s that were never used. Never put on a car, never stamped, still in the drawer, still in the original drawer in the original parts bin from where they've been since the 1930s. James says we are coming through good. That's great. Old School enjoyed the interview. Glad you guys liked it. Like I said, so much more cool stuff coming. The one I posted last night was just a good starter, but this, like I said, I hope you guys like this stuff. It's kind of different. It's kind of oddball, but the cars are just, it's stuff you just don't see, and that's what's so exciting about it. So there's the brand new Auburn tag. Let's get into a few more hubcaps. Once again, these are the smaller diameter that were literally a hubcap that literally threaded on to the axle. This one's still even full of old tissue paper, old yellowed brownish tissue paper from, you know, probably sometime in the 30s. Once again, I haven't even cleaned this stuff up yet, but you can tell the sheen on them and the condition of them is just amazing. Another one of those, kind of a smaller one, another Auburn cap. This one had a red center with black on the sides. And got some great comments coming in already. Old School likes all this stuff. Dakota, the VIN tags are awesome. They are, like I said, brand new, and they have them in stock. This, once again, you know, brand new threaded cap on the shelf from 80 or 90 years ago. So got Chris on with us. Glad you made it tonight, Chris. This next cap, and this is the last small one I've got right now, absolutely epic. I had to own it. It is such a beautiful, beautiful cap that I had to buy this thing. Auburn 12. If that's not an amazing piece, I mean, it's just the huge 12. It was a statement piece. Even though these were a small cap, the 12 is almost as big as the whole cap. They were going to make sure everybody knew you were riding in style when you were packing a 12-cylinder Auburn under that big, long hood. Once again, beautiful, brand new, threaded on the inside. Just, you can even still see right there on the edge, it looks like the part number had been written on the inside edge of that cap. But just an absolute statement piece when the 12 almost covers the entire cap. We can, you know, we put them all beside each other. I mean, the Auburn name and the Auburn crest was very prominent on these other ones. But when you're rolling with a 12-cylinder Auburn, they wanted to make sure everybody knew you were rolling in a 12-cylinder Auburn with that thing. So, let's get into some badges, but we're not going to grab into the badge box just yet. We're going to grab a couple of other badges, starting off with, that's right, Chris, Lycoming Engines was a company. Auburn actually owned them, and they did power them. What is the correlation between Auburn and Duesenberg? I'll get into that here in just a second. Let's check out these last couple of badges, and then we'll go with what I know about that story. First badge, an original cord. Dan used to go to the Auburn Cord Duesenberg auction in Indiana for many years, so, and they're awesome cars. But obviously, we know I like badges. I'm a big badge fan, and I'm going to send somebody else their starter badge collection here in a couple weeks. This is an original cord badge with the crest on it. Still has the stud on the back. A little bit chipped up, but hey, it's the real deal. This is probably off of like a 29 era L29 cord, something like that. And they use these up throughout the 30s. And I think, even if I remember correctly from what Doug told me, the first 810s, the first generation of 36 810s, still used these badges because they had a few left. The next badge we're going to get to is the second generation of that cord badge that the rest of the 810s and the 812s had. Stunning badge. Obviously, I love badges. This is an original. It has a broken stud on it, is why it was not put back on the car. Nice gloss, nice colors, great look at the cord crest, nice lettering, straight badge. Beyond super stoked and excited to add this one to our collection because it is a beautiful piece. Obviously, we like badges, and a pretty big fan of them. So adding a set of original cord badges. Got Ironhead on with us. Glad you made it to Ironhead. Adding a set of original cord badges to our badge collection was just absolutely awesome. Jim says Auburn's a great town on Labor Day weekend. They do have a great intro. I've never been to it, but I've heard all about it. The Auburn Cord Duesenberg relation, we had a question about that, and I think Doug gets into some of this on the video. I don't remember. We shot so many videos while we were there Thursday. I've ended up with about 12 or 14 videos. We shot video from about 10 o'clock that morning until about 6 o'clock that night. So we have a ton of awesome content coming from there. But Auburn Cord and Duesenberg were actually, if I remember correctly, and I'm not going to swear to this because I need to do a little more research. Auburn was the parent company, but Cord and Duesenberg, or maybe Auburn wasn't even the parent company. They were all related, owned by a bigger company, just like we had a comment on a little bit ago, which also included Lycoming Engine and some other stuff. Obviously, Auburn, Cord, and Duesenberg were obviously premier luxury cars in the 30s during the time of the Depression, when you weren't exactly selling a ton of luxury cars. They were all under the same umbrella. Mike from Texas is on. Glad you made it tonight, Mike. So as this conglomerate was kind of, I don't know if they were bought up. Like I said, I haven't done a ton of research in this, and I think Doug may get into some of it in the other videos, but I need to do some more research on it and some more studying. But they were under the same umbrella. And obviously, not a ton of demand for luxury cars during the Depression. They all went bankrupt in 38, and I don't know if that was all together or all at once, or exactly what the details were. At that point, they were, David W. made it tonight. Glad you made it, David. At that point, they were bought up by a gentleman who had made his fortune by basically buying bankrupt companies, and then he made his fortune off of selling the parts inventory, servicing whatever it was, vehicles or whatever, any other manufacturing company it was. But this gentleman was known for buying up defunct car manufacturers and made his fortune by still selling the parts because the cars were still on the road. And that was the gentleman that Doug's dad, Glenn Prey, bought the company from. So they were all under the same big umbrella, and I don't know exactly how that was all structured, but that was where the relation kind of came about, and that's how they're branded together. So, and like I said, I need to do a little more research on it. Like I said, I walked in the door of that place at about 11 o'clock Wednesday morning of last week, and ended up not getting done there until 4 o'clock Friday afternoon. So I learned a ton. I got a crash course in Auburn's, Cords, and Duesenbergs from Doug. And not that I don't love the cars and have been fascinated by the cars, but you don't see it. You don't have the opportunity to get that kind of knowledge other than being there, seeing it, talking to those people that are in the know and been around it. So that's why I had so much fun there, and that's why we were there for 2.5 days. I'm sure they had not planned on losing half of their week due to me walking in the door and bothering them for 2.5 days. But they were very cordial. They had a lot of fun with what we were doing, and they're excited about Auburn's, Cords, and Duesenbergs. They want to put the word out. In fact, to the point where they are actually in the process of building. The car's been designed, and the first one is under construction, a brand new G3 of the Boattail Speedster. They call it the G3. Are the original factories still around? I don't know what the factories were, actually where the factory was. Now, Joe from Illinois just jumped on. I was glad you made it, Joe. The building where the offices were, where the parts were, now I don't know if there was a manufacturing facility or not, is in Auburn, Indiana. It is current present day the Auburn Cord Duesenberg Museum, the actual building where all of these parts came from. Literally, the parts that we're looking at right here came from the building where is now the present day Auburn Cord Duesenberg Museum. So, like I said, all the ins and outs of how they all three ended up under the same umbrella, I don't remember and haven't had time to research. But they were under the same umbrella when they went bankrupt in 1938, and that's where they were all bought by the same guy. And he bought basically the name and the parts inventory and everything else. Now, another interesting twist was he did not buy the dies and the manufacturing side of it. Another gentleman bought the dies, the stamping dies and stuff out of the bankruptcy, and actually sold them to, I believe it was Graham and Hupp. And the Skylark and the Hollywood, actually, if you look up the Skylark and the Hollywood, look awful similar to a coffin nose cord. That's because they were made with the same dies. Those companies were kind of struggling and on their last leg at that point. So they bought the dies that were used only for the 36 and 37 model 810 and 812 cords, and they used those to try to put their new cars out right around 1940, and sold very, very few of them, and it was kind of a last gasp for both Graham and Hupp. But they did make an effort at it, and so when you look at a Hollywood or a Skylark, not a Buick Skylark though, obviously a Buick Skylark is going to be quite a bit different. They look a lot alike. Because they were stamped basically out of the same dies that were bought out of the bankruptcy. So the gentleman that Jimmy from Kansas City's on. Glad you made it, Jimmy. But the guy that Doug's dad bought the parts from, they came out of that building in Auburn, Indiana. in 1960. And that story is absolutely amazing, and I believe we get into that into the next video. So Old School says, I assume there's a stash of old parts still around. They are. They're in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. I saw them last week. I bought some of them. Well, I don't really need them, but that's cool, so I had to buy some. And we actually have video coming of that, too. We shot video in their parts department. We shot video upstairs in the warehouse area and brought some super cool stuff home. Like I said, we're looking at some of the smalls tonight, but we'll get into some, at least to me, I think it's epic. Some epic stuff here over the next couple of weeks that is just, I'm still blown away that I own some of this stuff. And Doug was kind enough to sell it to me. I'm glad you're enjoying it, Old School. I'm glad you like the history. And like I said, I'm not an expert on it. It's been a crash course. I knew some of the basics just from reading magazines over the years, but it was a great experience and so awesome. Chris says the 40-gram Hollywoods and the Hup Skylarks were 6 cylinders. So they probably had some re-engineering to do there as well because the Cords were V8s. That's right, Ironhead Garage. So many good car factories did not make it. And when you look back in the teens and 20s, there were like 2,000 car manufacturers in the United States. I mean, just crazy numbers. And that's what, like I said, that's why I love the badges. Old School's actual name was Rob. Well, thanks for throwing that up there, Rob. I just see Old School. That's all I know to call you by. So now I know yours, Rob. I probably won't remember that, so you'll have to keep reminding me, but I'll try. But that's why I love the badges. And that's why I collect all these badges. And that's why I was so excited about the Cord badges, adding these to the collection. Obviously, you guys know I've got a ton of badges. We're going to check out a few more badges. But these are the pieces of history off of those cars that no longer exist that we can put in our shop, put on a little board, hang them on the wall, and I just personally love. So stay tuned. Tons of more cool stuff coming from the Auburn Cord Duesenberg Museum, or factory, excuse me. Yeah, Rob, I think there were over 2,000 actually, Rob, if you look it up. I don't know how many there are now, but nowhere near that many. Just a handful pretty much. But that's and I'm not gonna flood you guys with just strictly the Auburn Cord Duesenberg factory stuff. I'm gonna spread it out over the next several weeks. I've been buying a ton of inventory, and I've got to get you some new inventory videos and some things like that. We've had a ton of rain here the last couple of days. I'm hoping I can get out and at least do some of the new inventory tomorrow for tomorrow night, but no guarantees the way the weather's been. But so I'm not going to just overload you with the Auburn Cord Duesenberg factory, but there's so much, like I said, there's a dozen or 14 videos, so it's going to take a couple months probably to get through it. The oldest badge I have, I really don't know, because some of these manufacturers were only in a short window, and then they may have used the same thing for 6, 8, 10 years. Definitely stuff back in the teens. I've actually got, and I don't have the badge for this, but I've got the entire radiator with grill shell and the grill badge that goes across the radiator. The badge itself is gone, but the emblem or the flat emblem across the front of the actual radiator coil is there for a crit. Which a crit I didn't know much about. A couple more comments. And that's true, Chris. The ACD Museum has some beautiful Art Deco architecture. I've never been there, but I've seen a ton of pictures. Absolutely amazing. Lance is there. Lance just got on. I was glad you made it, Lance. One other comment that just popped up. I am a one-man show. I do everything. I buy the cars. I haul the cars. I pull the parts. I package the parts. I print the FedEx labels. That's why my shop's a wreck. I never have time to pick the shop up. But I do pretty much all of it. I do all my own digital media. I do all the eBay. I do all the Facebook. I do all the Craigslist. I do all the YouTube. So yeah, I stay plenty busy. Yeah, I have no employees whatsoever. I handle pretty much all of it. So that's right. I am busy. I try to be at the shop by 7 in the morning and try to be out of here by about 9:30 at night is a typical day. Weekends, I may not start till about 8, but I'll usually work till 12 or 1 on Friday and Saturday nights. And then Saturday night, obviously, I focus on getting Sunday night chat prepared for all of us to hang out. So anyway, let's catch a couple more of the other badges out of the badge box like we always do. Since we're talking about all these different manufacturers, let's see what we can find out of here tonight. Grab a quick handful here. We just got 4 of them that popped up. Let's take a look at what we grabbed tonight. Some common ones, some not so common. Ted's parts for a 66 Skylark. I do have some 66 Skylarks in stock. If you want to get a list of what you need put together and give me a call, I'll sure get you on my list and see what I've got. Chrysler 4, a 4-cylinder Chrysler. That's probably a mid to late 20s era badge. It was a bolt-on badge. Definitely got some chipping in it, but still pretty decent blue and red colors against the goldish background on that one. Another real nice one for a Plymouth here. Plymouth, a Chrysler Motors product. Really good condition, not hardly any chipping, very clear ship on it. Nice lettering and cool font even on the Plymouth. This was a screw-on badge. Off to some of the more oddball manufacturers, the Essex Super 6. This is a great looking badge. A little bit of chipping around the S's. This had a pin that held on. It's still in pretty flat shape, not bent up or anything, but look around the edges of this thing. We talked about the Art Deco styling, just like on the building. You know, there was no reason to put these little ornamentations around the edge, but they do, just because it made it pretty and it was neat. We'll get to that Woodward Avenue sign here in just a second. That comment just faded out. I don't want to miss it, but I did catch it. And another one from another one of the oddball manufacturers that we don't hear anything about, the Star 4 from the Durant Motor Company. Beautiful badge, tons of color. This one's in really good shape. It's got kind of a dragon on top of it, I guess. Star in the background with the two-tone blue and red across the star on the side, on the front. This was a 4-cylinder. I believe these are also available on 6. I do not know if they made an 8. This was a press-on badge and a very pretty badge for something that like we talked about, one of those manufacturers that's been long gone. But here in my hand, we're holding a piece of it. We're studying it. We're talking about it. And here we are in 2021 enjoying the styling and the art of what they did with this stuff back in the day. So that's what, and that's the beauty of it. And that's why we're on here hanging out right now. The Woodward Avenue sign behind me, that is a reproduction. I actually bought that at the Woodward Dream Cruise in about 2000 or 2001. Ironhead Garage liked it really nice. Appreciate that, Ironhead. Back when I worked for Chrysler, I was in warranty administration for Chrysler for about 5 years after college. And we were actually up there. We had meetings in Auburn Hills one week, and it happened to be the same week as the Woodward Dream Cruise. So we went down and hung out there a couple nights. And that's right, Jim Durant did start GM. That's kind of what started putting that conglomerate together. So since we were in Detroit working, we went down and hung out a couple nights at the Woodward Dream Cruise, had a blast. Just me and another one or two people from some of my Chrysler friends went down there, hung out, had a great time. I obviously saw a ton of cool cars, so I grabbed that sign while we were down there and brought that home with me. And it's been hanging on the wall ever since. So I gotta say it's not old. It's 20 years old. I know that. So Old School, or Rob with Old School, he just made the comment, and it just faded. It's ironic that he made that comment. Chris says the Star was a classic car that was supposed to compete with the Model T, which would make sense, especially that being the 4. Being the Star 4, it would have been more the economy model. Real quick, I don't want to forget about it. Rob with Old School made the comment that, there's a building up in Canada where he's at that was a Model T assembly plant / dealership. And that's true. There were a lot of those. Or it's a museum. Okay, sorry. It's a museum now, I assume, is what you're saying. But it was originally a Model T assembly plant and dealership. They Dan says styling and art is a fact. That's what they did. Back in the day, it was not uncommon at all for Ford to ship Model Ts in pieces. And the dealerships would actually have a small manufacturing facility where they could unload the stuff off the train and finish putting them together themselves. Okay, Old School says, yes, now it is a museum. And it is so ironic, and I cannot believe you actually brought that up, because before we went to the Auburn Cord-Duesenberg factory on Wednesday, a buddy of mine that I actually sold a truck to like 5 or 6 years ago is also down in Oklahoma. And while we were heading that way, I said, I'm going to call him up. I'm going to give Michael a call and see if he's around. My buddy Michael Jones with Gasoline Alley Classics is restoring an old Model T assembly plant / dealership right now as we speak. And he has a company called Gasoline Alley Classics, and he makes a lot of man cave type stuff. This Model T dealership slash factory is going to be his showroom for Gasoline Alley Classics. And it's located literally a half a block off of the actual Route 66. Guess what? We shot video there too. So we're going to be bringing you that content in the near future too. But you can check out Michael at Gasoline Alley Classics and check out what he's got going on there too. So I can't believe you brought that up, because literally that was also part of what we did last week, was checked out the exact same type of facility that is being restored and renovated that's a half a block off of Route 66. The Durant Motor Company was also in Toronto. So yeah, and it was founded by William Durant, obviously involved with GM. So they were in Canada as well. So that's always interesting to hear and find out too. So anyway, that's what I've got for you guys tonight. One real quick, we're going to check out the badges that are coming up on the badge raffle here in a couple weeks. We'll show you those real quick, and then we'll get ready to jump off. Here they are. This collection is going to be shipped to somebody here in a couple weeks. Be sure to get your chances on the raffle. It's $1 a chance. If you send me $5, your name goes in the big Buick can 5 times. $10, you go in 10 times, etc., etc. My PayPal address is on the post. If you wanted to PayPal me and get your chances in, just make sure you put a note in there that it's in there for the Sunday Night Chat badge raffle, so I know what it's for. And we will get your name into the big Buick can to give these away. The Dodge is a little rough. It's got some chipping. The Buick's beautiful. Chevrolet looks good. A little bit of chipping in it. Plymouth is bent a little and has some chipping in the ship. The Ford chipped around the edges, but nice blue color. The Oldsmobile's a little bit rough, but still has some cool gold and red to it. And the International has some scratching and a few chips, but a great looking triple diamond International badge. So if you haven't got your chances for the raffle, somebody's going to win that entire collection here in a couple weeks, and I'm going to ship it to them and add it to their memorabilia collection. So that's what I've got for you guys tonight. I sure hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're enjoying the Auburn Cord Duesenberg factory content. Like I said, I got to get some new inventory video shots. Stuff starting to stack up on me, and I got to be bringing it to you guys so you guys can see what's going on and see what I'm out doing. But if we're caught up, I'll keep an eye out for comments here for just a few more seconds before we sign off, and I pick up my mess so I can get back to work. But man, it was just so awesome seeing all that different stuff. And yes, there were a few cars there that were done that are fully restored. We're going to be bringing you videos on those as well. And just some stunning is. There were a few cars into the stunning is the only way to describe them. They're that magnificent. So Dan did like the show tonight. Great. Thanks, Dan. Appreciate the kind words. All you guys are super supportive of what I do, and I can't thank you enough. Me sitting here talking into my phone wouldn't be pretty boring if I didn't have all you guys chiming in with your knowledge and your input, and that's what makes it fun, and that's what makes it a blast. So I super appreciate your guys' support. I'm glad you guys stopped by, hung out with me a little bit tonight. Ironhead Garage, you have a great week too. Ironhead said, I know a lot of history of cars. Well, I know a few things. I mess up from time to time for sure, but that's going to happen. But I do try, and I try to work hard for you guys so we have a good time on here. And we got a lot more cool stuff coming. Be sure to check out. We got lots of stuff popping up. Jim was just on Woodward this week. He's been cruising it since '64. Wow. Joe's ready to sign off. Thanks for being here, Joe. But like I said, lots more stuff coming up. Be sure to check those guys out. Auburn Cord Duesenberg Company on Facebook. acdfactory.com is their regular website. Check out the cool stuff they've got going on. Like I said, tons of content, absolutely amazing content, tons of cool stories, tons of history that we're going to be bringing you from what we learned there last week and sharing it with you guys. So anyway, thanks for watching. I'm going to sign off. I'm going to get to work. I got a lot of stuff to do yet tonight. And we'll try to get some more video shot for you tomorrow. Worst case scenario, if it does rain all day, we'll put up another Auburn Cord Duesenberg video. Since I've got all those recorded. But definitely don't want to just overwhelm you with that. I want to mix it up a little bit with some cars and trucks and stuff too. So as always, thanks for watching, everybody. Super appreciate you stopping by, hanging out with me for a few minutes tonight. Thanks to you guys are thanking me. It's thanks to all you guys for stopping by and hanging out. If you guys weren't here, this wouldn't be any fun at all. So, but tell your friends if they want to come by, hang out with us. We're having a great time on here. Let them know to swing by, jump on with us, hang out, and share their input, because I darn sure don't know everything. So all of your guys' input is great as well. So thanks for watching, everybody, and we will see you soon on the next video.